Hi, I'm Sharon Ullman. I'm running for Ada County Commissioner. I first got involved in the community right after moving here in 1990. I started working on the sewer rate issue out in the Southwest community. I discovered quickly that my representatives, the county commissioners, weren't doing their jobs. They weren't taking care of the issue. So I decided to run for county commissioner. My interest led from one issue to another, and I stayed involved. I became a citizen's advocate. And I continued to be frustrated with the representation that we were receiving from the elected officials in county government. I did win in 2000. I served a term from January of 2001 to 2003, and during that term had some pretty significant accomplishments. Managed to prompt a $6 million property tax rebate when I found out the county had a $20 million slush fund, and blew the whistle on it. I think that's wrong. Government shouldn't collect taxes from people that government doesn't need to spend. I also questioned the need for a very expensive emergency radio system, which made the sheriff's office go back and rethink the project. That ended up saving the county and taxpayers $7 million. I learned during my first term that the county was paying for pre-sentence investigators, but the responsibility was legally the state's. And so I raised the issue, brought it to the attention of my colleagues, and we ended up working out an agreement where we transitioned from the county having that program to the state paying for that program. To this day, that is saving property taxpayers $412,000 a year, likely more today with inflation. I'd like to also point out, I'm not bought and paid for. I can't be bought and paid for. I refuse to accept money from special interest groups, from PACs, and particularly from county contractors. I think it's wrong for elected officials to pay for their re-election campaigns using money from contractors who contract with the county. That just doesn't sit well with me. I think that you need to know that your elected officials are making the decisions that are the best for you as voters and taxpayers, period. It shouldn't be, who really owns this person? Whose interests are they really representing? During my second term in office, from January of 2009 through January of 2013, I'm proud to say that my commission colleagues and I left $81 million in property taxpayers' pockets. Sadly, today, some of those dollars have been collected anyway by current commissioners. I also, in that second term, came up with an idea for addressing at least a small piece of the health care problem. I worked with Idaho State University and a variety of other local organizations to set up a community health screening program. You might not be aware, but the county and the state of Idaho are the payers of last resort for people who are declared medically indigent if they have no insurance and no means to pay for their health care. You might not like that fact, but that is how it is right now in law. And so this program allows people who have no other access to medical care except through the emergency room to go to health screenings and find out what kind of health issues they have. This program stresses prevention and personal responsibility for one's own health. That's a much better solution than for these folks to receive all of their medical care in the emergency room, which is the least cost-effective, most expensive place for folks to receive health care. In addition, another accomplishment was to finally get another vote on the board for something I had been trying to accomplish since my first term back in 2001. And that was to remove the misdemeanor probation program from the hands of the private sector. I believe that law enforcement services, including misdemeanor probation, should be handled by the government. I believe in limited government. I don't think that government has a lot of responsibilities in our life, but I think law enforcement is one of them. I would appreciate your support in the Republican primary on May 15th.